holding screen, so like no one can see us at the moment.
Get in the closet.
Hide, and we'll say Eggsy's just gone for a swim. He'll be with us in a minute.
Okay.
And after we've introduced you,
That's
just
a good
swim
idea.
into frame.
Okay.
Okay, so
This is going to be good.
it's really good. EMW TV with Winger Records, featuring a live interview of Eggsy from Goldie Lookin Chain.
Eggsy's just gone for a swim. He's actually on a beach in Portugal, which I think is pretty fucking immature in these times, to be honest, with COVID and everything. But he'll be with us shortly.
Hi, lads.
Hey.
Just come back
All right.
from the, just
Wow.
been swimming.
Ah, nice. How's
Hot.
the water?
73 degrees, guys.
Oh, nice.
73, really hot. It's one of the hottest days of the year here.
Wow.
Been here since since lockdown, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, came out on holiday at the beginning of March,
Oh, wow.
and they announced lockdown. So I've just been living on a beach.
Fair.
I'm wearing a jumper tonight. All I had initially was some shorts and a t-shirt, but a couple of the locals have lent me a jumper, and it's lovely here. It's really lovely. The weather's beautiful. The seas, you can see it's such beautiful weather out here.
Way
at the
in the
moment.
background.
Really
I
nice.
feel like I'm there.
Yeah, well, if they allow lockdown to, we can travel freely, you're more than welcome to come and join me on the beach.
I will do.
I found one of those, when you buy like a 4-pack of lager and it's like held together by those plastic strips.
Yeah,
Like I found loads of them. So
Oh, nice.
we could make handcuffs, we could play police and stuff, and
Maybe decorate your bathroom with them.
yeah, anything,
Give it that beach authenticity.
set fire to them. Anything you want to do, guys, just come over to Portugal. It's cracking weather. It's great.
I'm getting jealous.
Beautiful. And he's sipping a Doom bar.
I'm having a Doom bar as well. They've got it on tap over here in Portugal. They love
The
Doom
national
bar.
drink.
National drink of Portugal, Doom bar. Yeah, a cracking pint. Cracking pint. Guys. Really good. How are you lot?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Good, man. Yeah, just chilling in sunny Carmarthen. Pretty
Equally
sunny
as
for Carmarthen.
equally as much fun as Portugal.
Yeah.
Equally as much fun.
Just as much
We
drugs as
don't,
well.
we don't have Doom Bar on tap in Carmarthen, though.
You can, if you can't get Doom bar on tap, if the pubs are open,
Yeah.
just ask the guy behind the bar to write the words Doom bar over Heineken or whatever they've got on tap, and it'll taste exactly the same. It will taste exactly the same.
Real.
Yeah. Any
Good
drink,
knowledge.
if you just change the label with a pen on any drink,
Whoa.
it will taste exactly the same. True.
Solid. Solid knowledge.
So-
Right,
so-
wow.
so-
To reel it back from your holiday escapades,
It's not a holiday, guys. It's survival. Just so you know.
Oh,
It's
you like the Welsh Bear Grylls.
Yeah, man.
that flag's moving.
It's because I'm just on the edge of the beach.
Sick.
We were discussing before you came on. I heard that GLC started in '83. Is that a joke? Because that seems insanely early, or is that real?
1983 was the year it all began. And a lot of people confuse this with the actual movement happening. But
Yeah.
it was the year it began. It was the year the magic happened. So I was born in 76. So what's that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 6. I was 7. But if you go back to 83, we all agreed that was the time when the magic happened.
Right.
The spirit of it was there in 83. Many of us, quite a few of us knew each other already. Some of us hadn't met yet. We would meet later on. But 1983 was really the year it all began. And you can't really explain that unless you were there and you felt that happening inside of your own body. Now, I know with Culture Vultures, like have you guys known each other a long time?
Me and Jem are brothers.
So you've known each
And-
other since you were
Long
the
time.
sperm met
Since
over.
Jem's birth, I didn't know him for the first 5 years of my life because
Yeah.
he was, you know, not alive.
So what year were you born?
And Finn, I was born in 92. Jem was
And-
born in 97.
97.
But
Yeah.
Finn, who was the other member that we started the group with, I knew him before Jem was born. So
Yeah.
pretty.
So during that time, you may not even know this, but you may have had a feeling, and that feeling would have been the birth of Culture Vultures. So that feeling could have been any time after birth, before you actually started Culture Vultures, and that for you would have been the year that it all started for
Yeah.
you guys. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, maybe when you finish tonight, get into bed, clear your mind, and try and go in your mind through every day of your life and think of all the feelings you've ever had.
I can't go for every last week.
Just try. And when you remember that one ultimate feeling, you'll know that was the year Culture Vulture started. And then all the new press you do, all the posters and stuff you get done, you can put the year that it started for you, you know.
I think,
So.
might know already, even though I can't remember what year.
Go on.
It's probably
go on.
when I was 8 and bought my first CD, which was an Eminem album. It's probably some shit like that.
Okay, yeah. So that's. I mean, if you've got 5 minutes, go on Google, find out what year that was released, and that becomes the year that Culture Vultures started. You know.
But like, when you say that's when you knew it started, like, what was that energy? Was it just you and your mates had a certain jackass relationship of, you know, knowing you were gonna do something extreme and over the top?
It was. Certain things happened, like music. For a long time, I've got 2 sisters, and it's hot out here. Sorry, it's hot in Portugal, guys. Sorry.
Take your top off, man. You should be sunbathing.
I know, but I'd skin cancer. You've got to be careful. You know, you've got to be careful. Me, 2 sisters, a lot of pop music, and a lot of like Adam and the Ants, a lot of new romantic stuff, and a lot of. I just wasn't into it. Wasn't feeling it. And then things happened. Certain songs, certain bands came along that sort of changed it all, and they really left a bit of an impression on me. One of them, who I was just listening to about 25 minutes ago, a guy called Stan Ridgway. You ever hear of Stan Ridgway?
Oh.
Stan Ridgway did this song called Camouflage, which is, for the time, was groundbreaking. It's mind-blowing. It was in the charts. It did really well. It was on top of the pops. You can see it on YouTube or whatever. But rather than being a song about being in love or, you know, wanting to wear frilly cuffs and makeup and doing all the Boy George stuff, it was a song about a soldier in Vietnam who got split off from his platoon, and he's left out there to die. And he thinks it's all over. And out of nowhere, this guy comes along and he saves him, and he kills all these VCs. Is that the word? Viet Cong. Yeah, he kills all these Viet Cong.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, they're fighting for communist beliefs or whatever. And he gets back to his base, and he's all mashed up, and he's like, "Oh," they're like, "What happened to you?" This is all in a song.
Yeah, that's mad already.
Mad already, right? And this is the twist. He's like, "Oh, what happened to you?" "Oh, I was out there. I got split off from my platoon, and this guy saved me. And his name was Camouflage, and he was massive, built like a brick shithouse, and he killed all these communists. And you know, he saved me. And the twist is, they go, well, the thing is with Camouflage, he's dead already, and it was a ghost that saved him. Now, that in a song, right, circa 1983 or whatever, that's not a song about love. That's not a song about, you know, Maggie Thatcher's Britain. That's not a song about, you know, dancing. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But it tells a mental story. And that's like, that blew my mind. The idea of using a song, it's a mini movie, but
is it a song or a rap song?
it's not even a rap song. It's just a bloke with a guitar. Like if you get online and just Google Stan Ridgway, right, you'll see it and you'll watch it and you go, what is this? You'll be like, what is this? But it's brilliant. Because this bloke, I don't know a lot about him, apart from the fact that at some point in his life, he wrote a song about the Vietnam War in the 80s. And it's all to do with the ghost saving him from being murdered. That's brilliant.
That's a gem, that is. I'm definitely
It's really good. It's really good.
It instantly made me think of... Oh, go on.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
It just instantly made me think of that R.A. the Rugged Man song that's about his dad who went to Vietnam. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah. Because he's...
But that's a rap song. That's a very technical rapper. To get all that in a song is impressive.
It's brilliant. He's quite emotional about his dad, R.A. the Rugged Man. I don't know a lot about him, but he is quite... Have you listened to Hip Hop Saved My Life podcast with
I have.
Ramesh Ranganathan? He interviewed him in that. He's a really interesting bloke, but I think he lost a lot of his family to some terrible illness or something. There's some really bad stuff.
Yeah, it's like Agent Orange, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. His dad was in Vietnam and he got mashed up by Agent Orange, and I mean, I use the term mashed up. That's not a very politically correct term, not particularly. No, I don't mean it in a horrible way, but But,
mash up the dance.
Mash up, yeah. But I've always loved that songs that are slightly weird. And they tell like a weird story, and they're not just like a love song or whatever. And hip hop is a really good way of telling those stories. And also, it just sounds wicked when you get a really good a good beat in the background.
Yeah.
So, when you get a good beat in the background, lads, I think better.
I like music with beats, you know what I mean? Just good beats, just boom, boom, boom.
Exactly. It's got to have a good beat to get the crowd moving. And if the women dance, then the men will get on the dance floor as well. First rule of hip hop, that. All right. But yeah, I think that's what's cool about hip hop.
From a true. So
you're breaking up. Sorry.
You hear Ridgway, and then that sort of ups your music consciousness or whatever to give a lesser hippie word.
Yeah, totally.
What's things you start getting into? Like, is it how long between that and getting into rap? What comes along the way, etc., etc.
Several things. James Brown's Sex Machine.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Again, I'm a kid. I don't know anything about James Brown, and this is long before I'd started listening to hip hop when they were everybody was sort of late 80s through the early 90s. There was loads of James Brown, all the JBs, all those breaks being sampled. Long before that, I was in the back of the car, and Sex Machine came on. This is like Radio 2, daytime radio, and I'm like, there's a man singing about a sex machine. Now, is that a machine with like a willy on the front that he's made, or is it a factory where you go and make babies? I don't understand this, but it's fucking hilarious. And it's not supposed to be a funny song, but again, it's different. It's totally different, So that kind of blew my mind, and it was starting to realize songs don't have to be about frilly cuffs and makeup and cribbed hair, which a lot of it was in the 80s. And then I got this thing called Studio Recorder 60, which was a tape recorder, right? And this obviously is a long time before anyone had computers. I did have a Spectrum 48K, but like you couldn't produce an album or edit a video on that. You could play Horace Go Skiing and that was it, right? Yeah. So I had Studio Recorder 60, which I believe was Maxell or ITT. It was a tape recorder. So what I used to do there was you could tape stuff off the TV, and I didn't realize it was anything to do with sampling or music by any means. But I recorded the episode of Eastenders when, I've got to get this right now, Sharon and Michelle had a big falling out because Michelle's kid was Dirty Den's. Dirty Den was the father of the kid, and Sharon was his daughter, and they were best mates. I don't know if you remember this, right?
What year was this?
Yeah. Of course, I remember that.
That must be, that must be about 80.
I doubt Jen was alive.
86, maybe 86.
Yeah,
I remember.
we
It was a good
me
year.
and Jen weren't alive.
This was when we had like 4 channels on the TV, potentially 4 channels on the TV. It was like massive viewing ratings. It was up there with the time when Dirty Den got divorced from Angie, which was, I don't know if you know anything about that, but that was classic. That was classic television. Christmas special.
I know the name Dirty Den.
Well, Den. It all comes full circle in the world of hip hop, because Dirty Den was a bit of a player. Angie had said that she had cancer because she knew he was going to leave her, but she'd been lying. And he basically divorced her on Christmas Eve. It was massive. Like, it was all over the TV and stuff. Many years later, with the band, Mike Balls, who's in the band, went on a live poker tournament, and he played with a series of celebrities, and Leslie Grantham, who plays Dirty Den, was on that poker team. So it all comes full. So from taping it off the TV all those years ago to actually someone I know quite well sitting in a room with someone from Eastenders, that's the height of hip hop. That is really when you reach the pinnacle. That is when
it's all been downhill since then.
It has massively. I mean, the audience numbers have dwindled. Hardly anyone comes to the gigs anymore. But then it was good. It was really good in those days, you know. So, but I think that's the joy of it. I think realizing that. Sorry, it's so hot out here in Portugal, guys. I'm just gonna have another sip of drink. But I think it's realizing that influences to make anything, whatever you make, whether it's you write a story or you make a film or you make music, they can come from absolutely anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of joy of it. Well, I think a lot of people today kind of think I'm interested in that music or making those films or writing those stories, and they sort of think I've got to do something a bit like this. Just fill your mind with as much cultural shit as possible, mash it all up, forget half of it, don't remember any of the facts, and then just splurge it all back out. Something will happen.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's it.
I purposely don't listen to rap music that much when I'm making rap music, and I just fucking absorb rubber shit, and then just whatever falls out. Like
totally. The idea of a tape recording of EastEnders somewhere playing a role somewhere. We did an EastEnders rap a couple of years ago as well, and that was a joy. Are you familiar with Derek B, British rapper?
Yeah.
He's from he wrote the Anfield rap, which was the Liverpool rap in the 80s, and he did.
No, I'm not sure actually.
So Derek B was part of the early UK British rap scene. Check him out if you get the chance. He was amazing because he was also he was the DJ and the MC, right? But he pretended to be 2 different people at the same time, if I'm getting this right. And he released an album, he did quite well. He went over to America. I think he might have potentially got signed to a US label. Like there was some interaction with other American rappers, which at the time was really hard because, you know, British rappers were not taken seriously.
What sort of time is this?
87, 88, something like that. But I forgot what I was saying now. Why was I talking about Derek B? It's the weather. It's so hot. It's so hot.
Come on.
Say again.
EastEnders.
He worked with Eric B and Rakim.
Oh no. So did Derek B work with Eric B and Rakim?
Well, supposedly I'm looking at Wikipedia now.
Okay, right. Yeah, that makes sense. So Derek.
Is that where he got his name from, Joe?
No. But he was genuinely, like, if anyone's watching this or they'll know this bit. First there was the dream, then there was reality, then there's the sound of footsteps. Who are you? Q, easy Q. if you've got no idea what I just said, it doesn't matter. But if you know about Derek B, you'll be going, yeah, Bad Young Brother, Bullet from a Gun, amazing, absolutely amazing, you know. But great stuff. The idea of sort of creating something like that is brilliant. And he died probably about 2 years ago, and he wasn't that old. He was like not even 50, I don't think, which was quite sad, you know. But really, sorry, so hot.
R.I.P. Derek B.
Yeah, Derek B.
Derek B.
Bad Young Brother.
I just pasted
So,
that in as well.
Fun. I think I told you this before, innit? But a fun fact is the first song I ever rapped was Soap Bar at Kai's dad's wedding when I was 8. We did a duet, Soap Bar, back to back, and I still know every word to that song.
That is good, because I know about 12 of the words to that song.
I know you're not actually on it, are you?
I'm not actually on it, so I only know about 12 of
Reese and Adam, innit?
Yeah, and MC Flat Press as well, who not many people know about. MC Flat Press, a.k.a. Dave Cocaine. And Dave Cocaine's a lovely guy.
So what year was the first GLC record or mixtape or whatever? When did you first put out an album?
The very first recording would have been a tune called I Feel Like Michael Jackson. And this was long before any of the scandal. Long before any of the scandal. It was when he was just an entertainer with a pet monkey, and that was it. There was nothing dodgy. And
vegan to have a problem, like.
Say again?
You had to be a vegan to have a problem with him at that point.
Yeah, you know. And Reese he's always been into DJing and hooking up beats and messing around with the technical side of stuff. So he started hooking up. I think he had a computer and just started messing around with stuff, making little loops and stuff. We didn't sort of sit there. Like I said, in 1983, all of us had this psychic bond where we knew that was the year GLC started, but we didn't know it was GLC. So since 1983 up until about 1998, 99 maybe, this bond had united us, and he was making these tunes, and I was like, this is pretty good, you know. We're just hanging out. He's playing this loop, this sort of beautiful, almost sexual loop, and I started whispering, Jackson, I feel like Michael Jackson, like that over and over again. So we're like, let's try and record that. So we got like a really crap mic, and I couldn't even get it in time. I still can't really do that, but I practice loads and it sort of works. But that was the first attempt at trying to get something done. And from there, like every time we hung out, we would all just, you know what it's like. You meet up with your mates and you have a couple of cans and you sit around or whatever.
Yeah.
There'd be some music on. So then he'd be trying to make some stuff. And every time he made a piece of music, I would ruin it by saying something ridiculous over the top. Smash your bellend, or something just really, you know, when you hear like a piece of music on loop or whatever, it becomes like a mantra and you start saying any old words over the top.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and for the first sort of, he was like, oh shit, you fucking ruined it. And then we're like, actually, it's quite funny. Let's try and record that. So we started recording it for fun, and then it just kept growing, and we're like, well, let's try and do this, because we all really like hip hop, but we all come from different, because everybody has a different set of musical tastes. But hip hop was the thing that, like, this is brilliant, because at in the 90s we were listening to, it was hip hop, it was house, it was drum and bass, it was garage, it was electro, it was everything, you know. I think if you set out to try and be a specific type of music, and if you really like that music but you don't have much experience in it, you're probably going to make something crap. But if you like loads of stuff and you just go throw it together and use a genre as the backbone for it, you're probably going to make something more interesting, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, you know. you know, we could have gone down the Christian folk rock route, but none of us could really play acoustic guitars that well. But you know, we all liked hip hop, and that sound of just a big drum beat is great. Just having a sip of the local drink here. Sorry, it's very warm here.
Yeah.
We've got a question in from the from Hunter Thompson asking if you can speak Welsh.
Dim sglodion.
Dim sglodion.
Sorry, guys.
No chips.
Yeah, no chips. Dim ysmygu, dim sglodion, henwer esbedrec. That's about as far as it goes, guys. From Newport. So we had you guys. Can you guys speak much Welsh?
Used to be able to.
Not fluently. More than that, but not fluent.
Yeah.
I used to be fluent. I went to a Welsh primary school, so I was shit at then, but I was in a Welsh primary school, so I could speak it fluently like a retard. But since
we didn't.
Left that, it's gone. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I can you can't say shit about me in Welsh. Do you know what I mean? You can't be slagging me off in Welsh.
Yeah.
But I sound like a retard trying to have a conversation.
Well, we didn't. They didn't teach us in school. The year I left school was the year that they brought it in on the syllabus. So all I remember about learning Welsh in school was the year I was leaving. Someone had put up Nadolig Llawin on a window, and so happy Christmas, guys. You know, but that's it, which is a shame because it would have been cool to learn it. But you know, I think that now in schools everybody learns it, which is good. And you get this funny wodge of people who use social networking who say things like, "What's the point of learning Welsh? It's a waste of fucking time, ain't it? It's a fucking dying language." And then you get people going, "Oh, fuck off! You need to speak Welsh because it's fucking culturally important." And all they do is argue with each other. Just learn it and get on with it, you know. And if the opportunity's there, it's like anything. If someone showed me how to use a sewing machine when I was 9, that would be another thing that I could do. So why not learn it if you can? Because learning, operating.
If you know 2 languages, you're just instantly cleverer if you know 2 languages.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it's the same as being able to dress yourself and use a sewing machine. You can put the clothes on, but you can also make the clothes.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer, guys.
It's
a no-brainer.
I've got a question from Paul Horsley here.
I know Paul. He lives in Norway, and he's in a band called
Paul.
Subway Safari, and you know Paul as well. I believe you know Chief.
That's
how we met,
he
innit?
introduced us to you, didn't he? That valley.
Wonderful man, a wonderful man. Hello, Paul. I'm in Portugal, Paul.
Shout out, Paul.
Wonderful. What's his question?
Well, it's not. It is a question, but it's a bit of a weird one.
Okay, go on. That sounds good.
He said, "Ask him to tell you about the time we were on our way from his place to the pub in Newport.
We found a dildo,
and he spotted a massive pink dildo right there on the street beside a parked car. Then ask him if it's true or false if he picked it up and sniffed it."
Now, I've got a few good stories about this. It's true, but I didn't pick it up and sniff it, but I did take a photograph, which it might take a while, but I can show you this photograph to prove this is true. So we're going to the pub. It's a wonderful summer's evening. Paul is originally from Cwmbran. He's Cumberlandese by birth, and he's a wonderful man. And he moved to Norway nearly 20 years ago now, I think. But I first met him when we did a gig in Norway, because we have a theory that we've held on to for many years, that no matter where you go in the world, you will meet someone from Cwmbran. We've even written songs about that. And this was a prime example. We're in Norway. It was a cold, rainy night. And this guy turned up in the dressing room, and he's like, "I'm from Cwmbran." And there you go. Wherever you go in the world, you will meet someone from Cwmbran. If I just quickly, excuse me 1 second while I go into images.
That's all good. Hey, yeah, keep scrolling. In that gap, I might as well spend this space saying, Paul is also, we met Paul in Carmarthen supporting his band Subway Safari. And then he subsequently arranged for us to go out to Oslo. We ended up playing 3 gigs out in Oslo with him. So he's an absolute legend.
place called Blur. Is it Blur?
Yeah.
The music, yeah, it's good, isn't
So
it?
we played 2 gigs, Friday and Saturday, in a smaller venue, and they were the only ones that were planned. And then on Sunday they were like, "Oh, there's this band that plays every Sunday. It's like a 16-piece band. They've been around the world.
Right.
They play every Sunday. They play for like 3 hours, and they have like guest spots. You should go and like see if you can do a guest spot." So we just went there, like, all right. And then the band was like, "Okay, well, we'll practice something now, and if it's good, you can come back." And we're like, "Do you know what I mean? Just rapping 16s to MP3s, like, make it good because we don't need you." All right.
I found the picture,
So we do
guys.
it, like, and then all right, sweet. We do it, and we're like musical retards, really, innit? And then it goes all right, and then we go back and play to like 400, 500 people. It's fucking surreal as fuck.
It's really good. Yeah, I think I saw the same band last time I was over there, and they're fantastic. They're really, really good.
Yeah, it's a sick band.
I found a picture. This is evidence.
Go on.
So I'll put this up to the screen so you can see that. You can see it there.
Because you got your background. Put it in front of your face. Put it in front of your face because it's disappearing because your background definitely real.
Hang on. There. So can you see?
Yeah.
It's on the floor. And can you see that? And I'm pointing
Go closer. Come closer.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, it's gone dead now.
It's gone dim.
Hang on.
I'll definitely see it, man.
So there's Paul, and there's me, and it's on the floor, and I'm pointing to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you notice, it's got a rubber suction cup on it, and it's next to a car. So God knows what it'd been used for. That's all I'm saying. God knows. Shocking. But that's the nature of the beast, you know. I'm just going to have another drink.
I got a question from Gaz Phillips here.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty deep one.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to prepare yourself for it?
Okay, yeah.
You ready?
Okay, go on.
Is your soap bar still consistent?
Now, soap bar has never been consistent. I think the thing with soap bar, it is basically a melted down Dunlop tire mixed in with some bits of sellotape. So in that sense, yes. Yes. So yes and no, I would say, is the answer to that.
I think you get more bags for life in them these days rather than Tesco bags.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, that's it. It's a heavy. But we did a gig in. We were in France when it all went crazy, and we were sort of touring all over the place. We did quite a lot of festivals around Europe, and we did one festival somewhere in France, and there were quite a few British expats turned up, and they all seemed to be between the ages of sort of 16, and they were obviously the kids of these people who live in France, 16 and 19, and they'd heard the song Soap Bar, but didn't really realize the reference was to a type of hash. And I remember someone throwing an actual bar of soap onto the stage and going, "Look, soap bar." I think they thought it was actually about soap. I mean, I didn't get a chance to speak to them about it, but it's one of those things.
GLC, cleanest hip hop group in history.
I wish that was true, but I've been on tour with the boys. I've spent many hours in tour buses, and it's a filthy hellhole. And if anyone here ever gets the opportunity to tour with a band for a prolonged period of time, I would say make sure the band is no more than 4 people, because otherwise it's horrible. Everything about it is soul destroying, and it's disgusting, and it's unhygienic, and it smells. That's all I can say. Disgusting.
So, going back to the music. So you and Reese, basically, he's sampling shit, looping stuff. You're saying shit over, and then what? Slowly, all your boys just start coming around and sort of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And what's the gap between that and then, say, I don't know, like your first project or your first gig or the first thing where it's like, yeah, we are Goldie Lookin Chain?
Spiritually, mentally, 1983 is the year that we became Goldie Lookin Chain. There's no doubt in that. It just took many years for us to actually begin that. So we started recording stuff, and there's a whole backstory to this, because we came up with the name. I'd been in several bands before this, and when I say that, what I mean is I'd made up the name for several bands before this and never done anything. One of them was called Fat Pigeon, and Fat Pigeon was a guitar-based band with a song called, well, I can't even say the title here because it was outrageous.
Yeah, you can.
I,
Radio.
I can't even bring myself to say it, but next time I see you, I'll explain the whole backstory of what it was. So all these imaginary bands always existed, and we came up with the idea for GLC. It's quite a long backstory, but I was in CrossFit. Okay, we've got all night. You know, this will be a 62-hour live stream.
Breakable records.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. Are you smoking a jazz there out of the garden, out the back door? Is that a big
window in his bedroom? That's an actual window.
Wicked.
You know?
Good.
Sunny Harbour Boy.
Basically, to cut a long story short, we came up with the name GLC because I was in college doing a BTEC media studies course. Part of the media studies course was to create a small video package for an imaginary news insert for an imaginary news program. I was doing work experience for this tiny little company that made corporate training videos. And I said, I've got to make up a new story for my project. The guy said, okay, well, now you're here, we'll make one up. So we made up a story where a man had found a valuable piece of ancient Roman jewelry in his back garden. He'd taken it to the authorities, and it works out it was worth a lot of money. So I pretended to do this news insert where I did the voiceover. A man in Newport, South Wales today found a rare piece of Roman jewelry today whilst digging in his garden, blah, blah, blah. Couple of shots of this guy digging in the garden, then like an interview. And this guy, Jeff, who ran this company called Corporate Television, he said, in all complete seriousness, I was digging in the garden when I found this Goldie looking chain. And it was brilliant, right? So I gave it in, I handed it in, got my marks, did the project. And we kept watching the video afterwards over and over again, going, what a great lie. That was a brilliant lie. We just kept saying Goldie Lookin Chain to each other. So then we said, let's start a band called Goldie Lookin Chain. And then we said, we'll start the band, but what we'll do is we won't make any music. We'll just make tour posters that say Goldie Lookin Chain World Tour. And it'll have every country in the world, but it'll have cancelled after every gig. And we'll just put those posters up. So that was the initial idea. So we did that. We didn't actually make the posters. We just spoke about it. But we kept talking about Goldie Lookin Chain. We kept talking about Goldie Lookin Chain. And then it became GLC. And then as we started recording ourselves saying stupid stuff over the top, we were like, that name fits into that. Let's do that. And it became that. And then the magic just happened. So from that psychic bond in 1983 with Stan Ridgway and the song Camouflage, that then built up to a man telling a lie about finding a Goldie looking chain in his garden, which then turned into a fantasy about a band that doesn't exist, which turned into some men who at the time were young boys saying stuff and creating a band. And then we made about 6 or 7 albums just because you can. And then people started listening to it. And then someone said, do you want a record deal? And they offered us like 20 grand or something. And we were like, wow, 20 grand. And then someone else said, do you want a record deal? And they went, do you want more than that? And we went, yeah. And then someone else said, do you want £750,000? And we went, yeah. And then we signed with Atlantic. And then we got a deal, and we put out an album, and then we toured and went around the world. And all the money got spent on getting wrecked. But good. was good.
You guys are
was
like
it-
a crazy fucking like success story. Like when I was like going through all your shit like in the last couple of days, I was like, they're actually probably one of the biggest fucking rap groups to ever come from Britain, or rap acts to ever come from Britain. I was like, look at all, I knew all this shit anyway, but you know, just in fucking days research or whatever, I was like, that is a crazy success story. And
Yeah.
how weird did it feel, say, when you just tick over that hump and you were like, all right, a lot of fucking people know who we are. We're actually pretty fucking big. What was your life like at that point, and how was it? How did it change? Like, how did it feel?
It was really tired, not sleeping, traveling loads, and you don't actually see a lot of that when it's happening. So like, imagine if someone signed you, because people don't get signed for loads of money now, and people don't blow up and go. We were kind of the last of that before record companies suddenly didn't have money anymore. You know, there were people at the record label like, "Oh, boys, come in. I've just been on a helicopter. I'm going to do loads of cocaine. My name's Dean." Wow. And it was like, all right, you're a bit weird. So there was all that sort of record label stuff happening, and I was never interested in that side of it. I never sort of thought, oh, I want to be someone who's sort of on TV and doing all that sort of stuff in that sense, you know. So we did it because it was like, you've got to do it because, you know, you can't turn that down. And I love like making stuff. Like if someone says, here's some money to go and sit in a room and make something, brilliant, you know. So it's like, yeah, let's do it. And then as you're out there, you're constantly touring and you're constantly doing like interviews with people and doing TV things, and they're sending you, like you go off and just do gig after gig after gig after gig. You don't actually see all the stuff was on TV at the time, or you don't see the magazine interviews. So you don't really gauge it that much. And then you go home and you'd have a bit of time off and you'd try and go to the pub, and then someone who was absolutely nuts, who probably been smoking crack or was just at them and go, "That's that fucking bloke from that fucking band. He's a fucking millionaire. Fucking what? Fucking, oh, mate. Oh." And then they'd all put their hands on your face and put their fingers in your mouth, and it was weird. So that's...
We've got some more questions coming in.
Okay. Any maths questions?
There isn't any maths questions currently.
Okay. Cool.
So we've got one.
Shout out for someone to send one in.
Yeah.
There's quite a few actually, so we'll try and get through as many as possible, isn't it? But Boofy's asking, where did the inspiration behind the sound of the latest album come from?
Mainly Reese's mind. He hooked up loads of those beats, and he just was like, because what he'll do is he'll put up loads and loads and loads of beats, and then because in the early days we'd all hook up and spend every night just getting battered and putting stuff together. But now we're all old and everybody's got different stuff to do. Like that just doesn't happen anymore. So we had a load of stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I've got this. Check this out. Have a look on this." So it's quite a different way of doing it now than it used to be. But he had a few ideas, and he was like, you know, chuck some bits on this, chuck some bits on that. And then someone would come in drips and drabs and chuck stuff on, and then it all sort of flew together. I'm quite amazed that someone actually has listened to the latest album.
I listened to it.
Okay, that's 2 people. That's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. And people come to the shows, which is not, because people come to the shows, and I think one of the cool things about being in a band rather than sort of doing other types of comedy is with music, people want to hear the songs they know, which is good, because you can go in and you can do the new stuff. But whenever I go and see a gig, if an artist goes, "This is a new one," you're like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." You want to hear the stuff you know. So we're kind of lucky that we've got a fan base who want to hear new stuff, but we've also got a fan base that just want to hear the old stuff. So we get a really good mix of people coming to shows, which is cool. It's really good.
Yeah.
That's sick. Got another one. Kuru's asking, what's the best gig you've ever played?
Best gig we ever played. Sweden in about 2000 and 2002, 2001. And we played at this little venue in maybe Gothenburg, I think. And 3 people turned up, 2 girls who didn't really know what it was, and a guy from Cardiff who we hadn't seen for about 6 years. And the promoter was like, guys, I'm sorry about this. No one's turned up. You know, should we pull the show? And we're like, no, let's do the show. So we set up 2 chairs in the middle of the dance floor for these 2 girls, and they sat there and watched the show. And our mate Tom watched from the back, and then we gave them their money back afterwards. Huh. And it was one of the best gigs I've ever done in my life. Brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So that's one of my favourite. That's one of my favourite gigs.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. You know, it's all about having a good time. Have a good time all the time.
Remember, we played tailing back on the whole Paul thing, innit? Like our friend Paul who lives in Oslo, and then we hooked up through him, and then we supported you boys at Christmas in a club called Oslo in Hackney.
Club called Oslo. Yes. See, it all comes full circle. And all of this comes from a psychic bond that was formed in 1983 when we all just had this.
I've still got a sticker by it, look.
Oh, nice.
Madness.
Nice touch. Yeah, very nice touch.
We've got a mic drop moment, actually. Esmeralda Pixie's mum remembers that Eastender episode.
It was a famous episode. It was a very famous episode. When Michelle and Sharon, who were best mates, had a massive falling out because I think Michelle admitted to Sharon that Dirty Dem was the father of her child. And classic Eastenders. Classic Eastenders. When Eastenders was good, of course.
Well, it's validation.
I don't know
validation that you're actually saying truths and not just...
Yeah, I'm not making this shit up. For a lot of people of a certain age, they'll remember Arthur Fowler having his breakdown after stealing the Christmas club money. You can go on YouTube and you type in Arthur Fowler breakdown, and it's one of the best TV moments of all time. Arthur had stolen the Christmas club money. He couldn't hold it in anymore, and he completely destroyed his living room. And I believe we sampled the sound of Arthur Fowler having a breakdown. I can't remember what track it was on, and you probably will never recognize it, but he does this thing. He's sat in the living room and he goes like this. He actually makes a sound like this. And then he smashes up his own house. Somewhere in one of our records, that sample does exist. So keep that in mind. Type in Arthur Fowler Christmas Club breakdown. It's a wonderful bit of television.
You got it.
Bill Treacher, of course, the great actor who played Arthur Fowler. No longer with us, but what a great guy. He's a toast to Bill Treacher. Out here in Portugal. Wonderful weather.
In Portugal. I've got a question from my friend Josh. Shout out to Josh. Joshua Davis.
Says Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, just to make it sound good.
We've got a question just in from Queens of the Stone Age on the hotline.
Josh Homme. Is that Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age?
Yeah. He just messaged me now.
Big fan of those guys.
Is he angry?
Yeah.
Josh Homme.
Josh Homme.
He's asked, what is your preferred method of eating an egg?
Great question. Overall, I like to, at the moment, I put 2 eggs in a pan, start to fry them lightly, just as the top is going from clear to white, the albumin is going from clear to white, fold them over on top of each other. Then I get a tortilla, put some chorizo in the pan, just as they're solidifying, not quite before they go solid. Let the chorizo start to cook. Transfer it out onto the tortilla. The egg, by which point, because there's 2 eggs, is folded over into a sort of pocket. Get that out, put it on top of the chorizo. Get the chorizo out, put the excess chorizo on top, fold the tortilla in on itself. Now the pan has got the chorizo fat in it. Put the tortilla back in, fold it up, and fry it on either side. And that is a delight. That is an absolute delight.
That sounds like next level.
And you can add grated cheese as well if you really, and Tabasco sauce if you really want to go for it. Maybe dice up some spring onions or leeks as well.
I felt like Hagee was in the room then. I sound like Hagee talking about food.
It's a nice touch. That is a nice touch. That's pretty good. Any more questions going on? Or?
Yeah, there's loads.
Yeah.
If you dare, because he just absolutely smashed that question.
That was a
Thank you.
answer.
I'm a big fan of eating eggs.
Can we take a break and make some eggs?
Yeah, I actually had some earlier today, and
good.
the only side effect was some very intense wind.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's protein. That's what happens.
So Michael Charles Hilton is asking 2 questions, which I'll put into one. He said, will you ever play a gig in Carmarthen again? And any more of the unexplainers in the pipes? That's lost on me, that is, but you might know what it is.
Okay, two great questions there. The first one is, I think we were lined up to be back in Carmarthen this year, but obviously COVID-19 has wrecked that. I believe it should have been rescheduled to next year. God knows if that'll happen, but always happy to come back and do a gig anywhere, you know.
And what he's angling at is he wants you to play in Kuru. So shout out.
He owns a bar.
Okay, well, if he's got any money and he wants to pay for us to come down and do a show, that's fine. He could pay for the hotel. He could give us a meal. We'll do the show.
I think Mike's going to have to wait for your career to dwindle out a bit more.
I mean, it's pretty dwindled at the moment. It's pretty dwindled.
It's got to be dwindled more. I've been to your recent gigs. They're in much bigger venues than this.
Okay. I'll take any. I'll tell the truth. Unexplainers is, if you don't know, it's a radio series that I did with my mate Mike Bubbins, who's a stand-up comedian, where we investigate the paranormal.
Right.
We speak to scientists. We speak to people who've experienced things. We go to places to dispel the myth of whatever happens. All 5 series are currently up on the BBC iPlayer, so you can go on there and listen to them. I don't think there's any more in the pipeline at the moment, but so far we've investigated Bigfoot, we've looked at alien abduction, we've looked at ghosts, we've looked at mermaids. It's all there, and it's all out there, guys. It will get you. It will get you. If you take your clothes off and hang out in a forest long enough, something will happen to you. Or leave your clothes on. It's up to you. Totally up to you.
Starvation, dehydration.
Yeah.
Hypothermia.
Yeah. All the classics. All the
ways that poltergeists interact with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, a quick one, actually. You've seen the film Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, I'll just have a swig of my drink. Do you clearly remember a scene where Dan Aykroyd is having a dream and a ghost undoes his trousers and plays with his genitals?
I don't.
Okay. It does happen. But the TV version cuts
in the
it
first
out.
one?
In the first one. What is that all about? Because you don't get that in family films these days. But it happened.
Oh, yeah. Is it like a ghost bride?
He's in bed. Because, you know, they have the fire station.
Yeah.
They all, you know. And there's just a scene for no reason at all where he's in bed and he has a dream and a ghost undoes his trousers. And it's really weird. Really weird.
I can't remember.
But
when did the first Ghostbusters come out?
Jesus.
1985?
Because recently I've been watching 80s films just because the discrimination in it is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there's some. Have you seen?
He doesn't watch a couple 80s films and then moan about we haven't come very far and we're not progressive. Like, trust me, we've come far.
I mean,
Trading Places in that film.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a film called Soul Man? Have you ever seen Soul Man?
I'm not sure.
I'm not going to say anything else, but watch Soul Man. Shocking. It's just bonkers. Absolutely.
I want to quote you stuff I've been watching, but I don't really want to say it on the internet live. Like, just pure.
I mean, these days, yeah, we'll just send it as a private message, and we'll chat about that later. You know, but not in a pro sort of. You know, I'm not into that stuff. But there is something fascinating. There's something fascinating about watching all that stuff. It's just mind blowing, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, any more fantastic questions.
Yeah, there's there's one more now, and then
That's loads. One is loads.
I got one more as
it's
well.
about the quality, though, isn't it? Any funny stories about meeting rappers you like? Kerry Shorty P Priest.
I remember meeting. He's not a rapper, but you know Tony Hawk, the skateboarder.
Oh yeah, mad. Yeah, I know. Tony Hawk.
There's a hotel in London called the Columbia. Oasis wrote a song called Columbia, which is about the hotel. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, this was the sort of the hotel where a lot of bands on the up would stay. Oh, crazy feedback.
Yeah, that was horrible.
So the Columbia is like the hotel where you would sort of, if you're doing a gig in London, record labels will put you in. You wouldn't be a good band because they put you in a proper hotel, but the Columbia was like this sort of really twatty, slightly shit hotel that looks nice on the outside, but is this crazy hellhole. You can look it up, the Columbia. I look up the Oasis song as well. And we used to stay there quite a lot. And this hotel is mental. And there's a bar downstairs that was run by a guy, I think he was Spanish. And he hated everybody. And he really didn't like you drinking in the bar. But obviously, that's where you would go for a drink. And when I say a bar, this isn't a swanky showbiz bar. It's just like a crap hotel bar. And we'd go down there and we'd get smashed all the time. And one day, Tony Hawk was there. And I love skateboarding, and I used to skateboard a lot. And he was just wearing like a crap brown leather jacket. And obviously this guy is like a superstar. And then were quite a lot of us. And I remember people saying, can we have a photograph? Or hello, Tony Hawk. And like many professional sports people, he's so on top of his game. And I don't want to say this in a derogatory way, but I truly believe that a lot of professional sportsmen and people who are really good at what they do are absolutely crap at doing anything else. They're not very good at interacting with people because all they do is that thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, Tony Hawk, hello. And he was like, hi. And it was like, all right. And it was, yeah. And I'm not one for, I'm not really into, if you see someone famous, why I don't need to talk to them.
Yeah.
And so it was just a bit, that was the closest thing to meeting a hero that was a letdown. It wasn't a letdown, but it was just a bit like, right, there you go. And I stood next to Paul McCartney once. And again, I had nothing to say to him, but we just stood next to each other. And that was quite good.
That's always a good move. You just lurk around them like a predator and you don't say anything to keep it cool. But until they get this, and then you duck out.
They got security.
McCartney was quite good because he'd obviously been brought to this event, and I'd been taken to this event. The rest of the boys were all at this event, and then they were like, "Okay, McCartney just appeared," and he walked in, and obviously I'm in Paul McCartney mode. He's Grace guy. Oh, hi, Paul McCartney. Baggy eyes. You know, he's got those baggy eyes. Paul McCartney. Baggy eyes and really quite friendly. You know, I'll talk about John. We had a falling out. You know, he's all that sort of stuff. And he came in, and I thought, well, I like the Beatles, but I'm quite sure over his career, he's sick of walking into rooms and people just going straight up to him. Are you Paul McCartney? But, you know, so he was there, I was there, and we sort of, you know, you sort of do this thing where you see somebody go like that. And then some people started doing, Paul McCartney. And then he got, I mean, he's worth about £675 million, so I'm sure he can deal with it.
Should have taken a toe.
But you know, that is quite surreal. And then when we were in Japan once, we did a festival called I can't remember what it was called, but Marilyn Manson was on the same bill, and his dressing room was next to ours. I love this. This is one of my favorite stories. And he had a room full of like racks and racks of clothes for his costume changes and all these people. And we had a room with a whiteboard and some markers, and we spent the afternoon playing Win, Lose or Draw, which I don't know if you remember was a daytime TV show in the early 90s, which is pretty much like Hangman. You draw stuff and you have to guess what it is. We spent that playing that, and then after a while, Mike Balls, who is a legend in the band, decided he needed a dump. We didn't have our own toilet, and he said, I'm going for a dump in Marilyn Manson's toilet, which clearly said Marilyn Manson's toilet do not have a dump. Not in those words, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And he said, I'm going for a dump. And as he walked through to open the door to defecate in Marilyn Manson's toilet, Marilyn Manson came out of the toilet. I think Mike simply looked and said, sorry, sir, and then turned around and walked out, which I quite like that. I think that's quite a nice touch. Yeah, it was quite good. And then one of my other favourite memories was probably, do you know the French band Phoenix? Do you know Phoenix at all?
No.
A French band who, one of them was sort of part of Daft Punk before Daft Punk became Daft Punk. And they went off and they've done really well. They win Grammys and all sorts of stuff. A good band. But we were doing a festival in somewhere, and Phoenix was sat next to us on a table, and Mystical from the band, who, if you know the band, is a legend. He's a 2,000-year-old wizard in the guise of a man from Newport who's in his 40s. Was out of his mind and had just gotten a beef burger. And Mystical walked past us with the beef burger, went into the toilet and sat in a portable toilet cabin eating a beef burger. And these refined French artists just looked disgusted. And that was one of my favourite memories as well. It's great seeing a band that have won Grammys being disgusted by a man eating a beef burger in a toilet. I don't know why he ate the beef burger in the toilet, but he did.
It's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world.
No. I mean, it's unhygienic, but, you know.
So on the topic of celebrities, you've got that track, Who's Next, which is essentially talking about, well, it starts off very paedophile-based, celebrities that were icons and then became paedophiles. Then it goes into general celebrity disgraces, downfalls, whatever. Yeah. My question was, what's your top 3 all-time disgraced celebrities?
All-time disgrace. Frank Boff. Now, are you familiar with Frank Boff?
No.
Oh, total legend. Frank Boff was a TV presenter in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. You had 2 choices of breakfast television, TV AM or breakfast time, I believe. So you had the BBC and the ITV versions. And Frank Boff was a prominent presenter. He'd been a sports presenter on the news, and he moved over to breakfast television. And Frank was probably in his late 50s at the peak of his career. Google Frank Boff if you don't know who he is. Wonderful. Everybody knew Frank Boff. And he was in the papers for having a severe, several nights of debauched, cocaine-fueled, bondage-led party sessions in a hotel in Kensington. And many years later, I got to stay in that hotel. And I remember being drunk, coming back and asking the staff which room was the room that Frank Boff did all his stuff in. Yeah. The staff had no idea who Frank Boff was and just told me to go to bed. So that's going in reverse. That's probably number 1.
Yeah.
Other disgraced celebrities. Gillian Tailforth, who was in EastEnders, and she played now, let me get this right, Pete Beale. Now, Pete Beale was, I believe, Arthur Fowler's brother-in-law in the show. Gillian Tailforth played Kathy Beale, and Kathy Beale was quite a big deal in the late 80s. She was in a scandal because she was caught on the side of a road, out of her mind, had a couple of drinks, playing with a man's willy. I think she remained in EastEnders though, so that again was a good scandal of the time. So let's say Frank Boff number 1, Gillian Tailforth number 2, number 3. Let's go with what was his name? Bacon, who was a Blue Peter presenter. Oh God, what was his name?
Kevin Francis.
Not Kevin
Francis
Bacon. He's the
Bacon.
American actor. Bacon.
Francis
Bacon.
Richard.
Richard Bacon. But I've got to say, in defence of Richard Bacon, he was a very good Blue Peter presenter, and I didn't like Blue Peter. I never have. It was for goody two shoes. It was for nice kids. It was a horrible TV show. He was a great presenter. In his own spare time, outside of presenting Blue Peter, he went on a bit of a bender, and he got stitched up by one of his own mates who dobbed him into the papers for like 20 grand or something and sold his story to the papers about him doing cocaine, and he lost his job, which was a shame because it didn't affect his job. He didn't do it. He wasn't making kids take cocaine. But again,
It got him through it.
Yeah, and a great scandal. Exactly, because if I was presenting Blue Peter, I would need copious amounts of drugs. That is a good one because at the time, complete scandal. I've had number 4, I'd say the sinking of the Belgrano, Maggie Thatcher, sparking off the whole Falklands conflict, and that's another, not quite a celebrity scandal, but another
Weird one though, isn't it? Because celebrities, they have this obvious pedestal, and then they get disgraced, and the whole world thinks they're a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Except like their mother. Whereas Maggie Thatcher, over half people obviously have thought she's a cunt forever, and there's always gonna be a chunk of people who think she's a legend regardless. So it's like it's a weirder one that.
Yeah, 80s Britain. I watched some of the Maggie Thatcher. There's a film about Maggie Thatcher with what's that actress who played her? She was in Out of Africa. She's won loads of Oscars. I'm sure there are some people watching. She's a very famous actress. It's a film about Maggie Thatcher.
Type in.
I'm googling.
Yeah,
now.
type it. Google it. Who played her? What's her name? She's really famous.
Asking people to type in like we're not all on the internet.
Is it Helen Mirren?
No. I think Helen Mirren did play her, but it was another actress. Oh God, what's her name? She was in Out of Africa. I can't remember her name. It's gone. It's gone. But anyway, I watched the Maggie Thatcher film, and that was quite interesting because a lot of people hate Maggie Thatcher. I'm not a fan of Maggie Thatcher, but I'm fascinated by that because at the time I was like a kid. So it's really interesting looking back to see what the fuss was all about. And you look back at it, she wasn't.
It's not Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Meryl Streep, star of Out of Africa as well.
She wasn't a warm character.
No, not very nice. But you know the one thing about Maggie Thatcher? I love this, the way I'm just rambling on a load of crap. She started off as a chemist. And basically, she was essentially responsible for the invention of soft scoop ice cream. Before that, ice cream was solid as a log. And
you have to expand on that slightly.
How did you find this out?
It's just common knowledge to people who were around in the 80s. You know, she started off as a chemist, and she worked on the invention of soft scoop ice cream for walls. And then she got into politics. No, say what you like about Maggie Thatcher, you can't beat soft scoop ice cream. The rest of it, horrible woman. Soft scoop ice cream, lovely. Mr. Whippy, lovely.
Legendary.
And then if you really go right far back, Douglas Hurd, he was also involved with her at the time, had hair like a Mr. Whippy ice cream. Just Google it.
It's all connected, man.
It all goes back to 1983 when I had that initial feeling on that psychic bond. It all just comes to that.
I've got a question from Amber.
Yeah.
What's your favourite breed of dog?
Not a big dog fan.
Ooh, wrong answer.
I don't dislike them, but having one, it's a lot of responsibility.
No, I'm just saying your favourite, if you were going to have one.
Okay.
Or you don't even have to have it, but what's your favourite looking one or the... I don't know.
Okay, okay.
What dog do you hate the most?
Are they called Shibuyas?
Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu.
Yeah, one of them. Because it's smiling a bit, smiles a bit.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, Shiba Inu. Yeah, that's my
Good
favourite
choice.
One thing I wanted to ask is, a legendary moment was when you boys played before the Wales game at the Millennium Stadium.
Yes.
I mean, A, I was wondering what that was like. That must be nuts. But B, I was wondering, because you played Your Missus is a Nutter and you dedicated it to Victoria Beckham. I was just wondering if there was any echoes from that and anything, any backlash post that performance.
There was and there wasn't. Basically, we were offered by a well-known Sun journalist at the time. Jokingly, we knew him quite well. I don't like the Sun newspaper now. It's wankers newspaper, horrible bastards. But at the time, I hope the Sun does collapse. Horrible fucking rag. But we knew someone who was
not the light source.
Not the actual light in the sky that provides us with energy and vitamin D. I love that. But
that's sound.
That's wicked. But the actual newspaper is scum. But we knew someone who worked there as a entertainment journalist, and he's a genuinely nice guy. He's not involved with it anymore. And he said, "Oh, God, I'll give you £100 if you dedicate that song to Victoria Beckham." So you were there, go on, and go. And we did. Only paid up £50. Still to this day owes us the other £50. This wasn't like a newspaper deal to get an exclusive. This was so he still owes us £50.
In hip hop, you're allowed to send for people. Do you want to send for him?
Okay. What does that even mean?
I've heard it before once or twice. Is it a thing?
You could
call him up.
Yeah. You could start a beef.
Start a beef. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, occasionally we exchange messages. It's all pretty amicable, but I wouldn't mind starting a beef. Just don't fancy having a physical.
No, it'd have to be verbal.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Maybe I'll work on that later on. See if I can suss something out. But anyway, he offered us the money. We did it. I don't particularly care about any. I don't even like football, so it doesn't make any difference to me at all. And the only fallout from that, which I thought was hilarious, was I think we got an official letter or an email from the Welsh Football Association saying something like, "This is going along the lines of this has dragged football into the realms of disgrace." And I've said this since then. What really drags football into the realms of disgrace is people chanting terrible racist things at players and throwing coins at people and people kicking each other. That's really what drags football into disgrace. Yeah. So there was nothing really outrageous. And again, I don't remember a lot of it because that was in the middle of supreme sleep deprivation chaos and just going places. And it's probably one of the only football matches I've watched in my life. Not into it.
So you guys also did.
It was fitting. I don't think it was mean.
You also did the tsunami appeal, right, in the Millennium Stadium?
Yes. Yeah. That was loads of bands and artists there. Favorite memory of that, at the end, all the artists came on stage and there's a photo somewhere of Billy Webb on stage with a can of Red Stripe stood next to Eric Clapton, and Eric Clapton's like, "What the fuck is this bloke all about?" That's one of my favorite images of all time. So, Billy Webb next to Eric Clapton, out of his mind. Just wonderful.
I was in college at the time, and we had actually managed to get up the day before for the build to do some filming, and you guys were all just kicking a ball about on the on the metal pitch that they're taking up the grass, and it was you guys were all kicking the ball about, and there's the guy, rest in peace, the guy drummer from Stereophonics doing his Espedrec TV
Stuart,
program. Yeah. And everybody was stood about, and we were all just like wide-eyed college students, looking around thinking, "Whoa, this is the big time."
How disappointed the reality is. How disappointed. That interesting is what we would have been doing there is a game that we've been playing since we were kids called Circle of Death, where you have to stand in a circle and you've got to keep the ball up in the air. And if the ball drops from the keep-ups, you're then void from the game. And it just goes on forever. But Circle of Death is it's a classic game. So you're one of the rare people to have witnessed some men playing a game called Circle of Death in a stadium. Not a lot of people have witnessed that. So that's a great experience.
In the Millennium.
In the Millennium Dome, yeah. But a good gig, yeah. Loads of people. And got up there and did it, you know.
It's massive at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, really big. 80,000 people, which is a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah, crazy.
What's your favourite gig ever? Go on.
Sorry, say again?
That's been asked already, man.
I was taking a piss.
We're not going to re-answer questions just because of your toilet break. Like.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't asking you to. I was just saying that's why I didn't know it had been asked yet.
I was just going to say a tune I was listening to earlier was Paranoia off of Safe as Fuck.
Yes.
That's a good tune, isn't it?
It's all right, yeah. It is. It's quite good. That one is. Now, Safe as Fuck was the album after we got dropped, which is a really confusing album. Can I just have a wee? And now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let's take a toilet break. Yeah.
Just have a chat.
Listen to see, man, behind you.
Well, I'm going to go down to the rock pools because you can go up to about waist height, and I'm just going to go down to the rock pools now.
Watch out for those things that fly up, they swim up the deck. The little
dick swimmers.
Right, it gives me time to do some promo.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do some promo.
You do some promo. I'll just have a quick wee. Here we go.
Some
just
promo.
go down to the rock pools, lads. I'm just going down to the rock pools now. So
Don't get stung by any jellyfish.
Portugal, that was so hot. So hot.
He's just going to disappear.
So this is EMW TV with Winger Records. We need a new name. So any suggestions for a name? Because we've realised it's clunky. EMW TV and Winger Records interview is clunky. So we need a new name. Interviewing Eggsy with GLC. We're just having a break. Here's some promo.
Promo. Black Tricks EP out now.
And also, our next one of these. Go get that. Our next one of these, this yet to be named podcast, will be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, interviewing the legendary Cardiff hip hop DJ Jaffa. If you're into your hip hop, you'd be a fool to miss that one. As always, send in your questions. Yada yada.
You were doing some.
Send us some more questions while he's taking.
You were doing some tracing of
Eggsy.
hip hop history, and Jaffa's going well back, isn't he? So that's gonna be
man.
That's gonna be another
89, wasn't it? Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Insightful.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know DJ Jaffa, he had a record deal, Jive Records, in like '89, I think, Cardiff based. So that's going back pretty far in terms of fucking British hip hop.
If you've ever been to any sort of hip hop gigs in like Newport or in Cardiff with big names like Wu-Tang, people like that, then he's probably played, and you've probably experienced his DJing because he's literally like the go-to DJ for that. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, it's a good chat. Like.
Fuck real.
And if anyone missed it yesterday, we interviewed Raz Kid. I'll be getting uploaded at some point. And Eggsy is back on the show.
That was a nice dip in the sea. That was really refreshing hearing Portugal.
Dried off quick.
Yeah, it's so hot. It's so hot here. I've just dried. Because I went right in. Jellyfish, all loads of stuff in the sea right now. Loads of stuff. It's the sharks. All stuff.
Is there any what's the most current rap music you've been into or enjoyed in any form?
Action Bronson.
Oh yeah, nice.
The Action Bronson. I've listened to a bit of Action Bronson. It's so saturated now. There's just stuff everywhere. Like a lot. I was talking to some of the boys in the band the other day. They're all listening to Little Sims quite a lot.
It's good.
Which is good, but Six Music have rinsed that one single that been absolutely played loads, so that's sort of done my head in a bit. There was an interview with Little Sims, and I think the albums, a lot of it was recorded in Wales. I don't know the full details on it, but that's quite interesting. I think it was Little Sims. But yeah, Action Bronson. I just don't listen to a lot of current hip hop. Not that I even dislike it, but where do you even begin? You know what I mean?
Okay. What's your favorite? It doesn't have to be a particular set of numbers, but what's your favorite couple rap albums or artists?
Right, okay. Let's have a think about this. Favorite rap albums, absolute favorite rap album. Anything by Tribe Called Quest is good. Yeah. So I'm going. It's going to be a lot of '90s, late '80s, '90s stuff.
Yeah.
A slightly weirder one. Do you know Company Flow?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Company Flow, who basically
Fun
now
Crusher.
is Fun Crusher Plus. That album. Yeah. That was a good album. It's when hip hop went.
I love that
weird.
shit.
It's good, weird, really dark, really sinister. Things about aliens, but then things about people getting murdered and stuff. You know, really good.
LP is one of my favorite producers.
Yeah, really good. Liquid Swords by the Jizza. That is an album that's really good. The Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers is, you know, you've got to have that, really.
Right, innit?
It's all right, that is. It's quite good, that is. He's not a bad one. They've done all right.
They got some raps, innit?
Yeah, they got a couple of, you know, they know what they're doing, those lads.
Beats. They got beats, and that's what I like about it.
Exactly. You know, it's all about having a good... If you've got a good beat, the women will get on the dance floor, the men will follow. Classic.
I was playing five-a-side last Tuesday, and the guy had a Wu-Tang tattoo on his leg, and I was like, "Oh, it's Wu-Tang," and he's like, "You'll be surprised how many people think that's Batman." And then he said and I said, "Do you tell them it's Wu-Tang if they ask if it's Batman?" He goes, "No, I just let them think it's Batman."
Now that's good. That is good.
He was a good ref because of that. I didn't fucking care if he was giving us bad marks or something. He's like, "Oh, he's got Wu-Tang."
He's all right. He had a Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
He had a Wu-Tang tattoo.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh God, what other albums? Public Enemy. Any Public Enemy's good. Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys. Do you know that album? Check Your Head. Yeah. Check Your Head was...
I haven't gone deep into Beastie Boys, but I got a lot of gaps from the 90s of like classic shit people assume hip hop heads have listened to that I just have not.
That's the thing. There's so much.
Too much.
Yeah. If you meet someone who knows all of the albums, they are dysfunctional. They've got something wrong with them. Because all they'll do is like they'll talk at you about every album, and but then they can't do things like sort of just have a conversation about buying
wipe
shit.
their ass.
Yeah, you know.
If it wasn't that, it'd be figurines or some shit.
Yeah, you know, it's blokes. It's always blokes. Blokes have this weird obsession with collecting stuff. You never meet women who have this weird obsession the way blokes do, and it's sinister, you know. But it's what it is. Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys I really like because they had done License to Ill. They did Paul's Boutique, and everybody went out. You know, this whole thing about everyone now says Paul's Boutique was a masterpiece, but it wasn't recognized at the time. I didn't really bother with License to Ill until I was probably about 15, so it had been out for a while. So my mates who'd been into it gave me copies, and it's good. Paul's Boutique, didn't even know it existed. Then I saw them play Reading Festival in about somewhere between 93 and 95. My mates had seen them the year before, and they bought oh God, my mind is falling apart now. They bought Check Your Head. I started listening, and Check Your Head is I think it's a brilliant album because it is just the Beastie Boys starting to do their own thing. And because I like punk music as well, Death Row and the punk stuff and all that, you know. So it was like someone who I was listening to the Dead Kennedys, but I was listening to Ice-T, and I was listening to fuck knows, just everything. That album at the time summed up loads. You know, there's things like Bob Dylan samples in there, but then there's crazy reggae samples in there. So that is really good.
Hybrid of your shit you liked already.
Yeah. Well, there's loads of stuff. I mean, ideally,
you don't have to name loads, but
I mean, so it's just that wodge of stuff. They're the first albums that sort of spring to mind. There's loads of other stuff. Derek B, Bad Young Brother. Again, we spoke about him earlier on. You know, and it was British, so it was interesting. Which, you know, now I think everything it's not shit, but there's just so much I don't know where to begin.
I got a question for you. What's your opinion on like the use of auto-tune in hip hop? Do you know, because there's so much of it, or it might not even be auto-tune now, it might be Melodyne, but yeah, what's your hot take on that?
He just answered with his face.
I know, I did see that.
It's auto-tune always makes me laugh, and I think a lot of the people using auto-tune don't want you to laugh.
Yeah.
Because it's hilarious when you hear it, you know. Before we could, do you know Zapp and Roger, More Bounce to the Ounce? Do you know that tune which has been sampled loads by, like, you know, Dr. Dre and all those More Bounce to the Ounce? Yeah. More Bounce. Look that up, right? So they were like Peter. Do you know Peter Frampton? Do You Feel Like We Do? Peter Frampton was one of the first people to use that rubber pipe in the mouth when you which has become auto-tune now. It's such a hilarious sound. But when we started recording stuff, we knew that sound, but we didn't know, because it wasn't massive then. We didn't know how to make it or what to do with it. But we had this kid's toy that if you spoke into it, it made your voice sound funny, and it looked like a dildo that had been made in Spain, so we called it the Spanish dildo. So there's loads of early stuff we did with the Spanish dildo effect on the top. And now whenever we hear stuff loco, we're like, oh, they've chucked a Spanish dildo on the top of that.
Is that
it's kind of pointless.
Is that what you used on Half Man, Half Machine?
No, we there's no Spanish dildo on Half Man, Half Machine. There is a sort of weird effect over the top, but it was the earlier albums that we'd done.
Oh, okay.
That had the Spanish dildo on. We only had it for about 3 albums, and then the guy who lent it to us asked for it back. And it literally was a kid's toy that you spoke into that made you go nuts, you know. But
on Half Man, Half Machine, was that purely a comedic idea that popped in your head, or was that based on like an actual psychotic break of someone you knew?
So when that album Greatest Hits came out, that was released by the record label. That was a collection of all the best tunes off the 5 or 6 albums we just made in the bedroom, you know. So to us, it was the greatest hits because they were all the best songs off of that.
Yeah.
I love robots. I'm obsessed with robots. And in the style of Stan Ridgway with Camouflage, it was a song that is a weird story. And that's, I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Because you literally, whatever you want to make, you can make it up in your mind. And then when you get the ability to, anyone could sit there and think about a dinosaur eating someone's eyes, ripping their head off and pouring their body full of custard. But to get that message across to someone, you need to be able to make it. And that was a really good example of just going, this stuff is in my mind. How can we put this in a format that other people can experience it? And it's nearly as good as my fantasy, but it's not quite that, but it's good.
I've got a question again, actually, about the balance between, you know, being known as a comedy, sort of like doing comedy, basically, like making people laugh, but the balance between just going too heavy into comedy and then also trying to maintain some sort of, can't remember the word, but you know, like
some sort of musical credibility.
Yeah, some credibility. So you can share stages with like hip hop acts or whatever, and they won't be like, oh, those are the jokers. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
did you find that hard, the balance, like, or did you even intend to be funny? Was that in your original
Yeah.
intention?
Totally. Yeah. I think it's everyone else's interpretation. You know, there are some people who are just like, what is this shit? There are some people who are like, this is really funny. There are some people who are like, oh, I recognize that beat or that sample, and I recognize that lyric where you've lifted a lyric from a hip hop tune, you know. And I like the confusion. I love that whole thing of what is it. I think that's what makes it interesting for me. That's what makes it interesting to make it. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
What anyone else thinks? Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's.
That's what makes good music, is not giving a fuck.
Yeah,
it's blocking out voices, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and it's just a blur of stuff, and that's good. You know.
No, that's
One thing that's quite crazy to me. So you're saying you spiritually started in '83, and
that's when the mental bond happened. Yeah.
You released an album fairly recent, wasn't it? And I listened to it and I was like, this is fucking another banger. Like, this is absolutely banging.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Do you think the reason you were able to make so much music over such a long time, keep the enjoyment and the quality, does that stem back to you all being mates in '83 and getting connected before music was even the thing, do you think? Or is it another thing you can expand on?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think being sort of mates together. I think if you tried to make something like this from scratch with a load of people who didn't know each other, it wouldn't work as well. I think it's a mix of, we really enjoy doing the live shows, although I hate having to travel to the places, and I hate having to share a room with someone that snores, and I hate not eating any decent food, and I hate everything apart from that hour where you do the gig. But you sort of think, okay, well, here's another idea, let's try it. Because for all the stuff that gets through to those albums, there's a ton of stuff that's just complete horseshit that doesn't, you know, you just have to make loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff, and then you just have to edit back the ideas and go, that one's shit, sack that one off. Or alternatively, you just keep it there and then it comes back up. You must do it with your stuff as well. You know, you make something and then you think it's good for a bit, then you forget about it. But then you might come back to it a year later and go, actually, that's quite good, and it turns into something else, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of throwing shit at the wall, or as Hagen puts it, throwing noodles at the wall.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep going.
See if it sticks.
Yeah,
right.
just see what happens, you know.
Good
But there's something wonderful about making something without sort of thinking, I'm going to make this thing to be like this. You just do it. And
that's all the best shit.
We've made some really fucking terrible stuff, but that's what's great about it. You know, especially the early stuff, but it's brilliant because of that. Like, it's literally some men out of their minds after drinking a load of cheap red wine and smoking a load of fags and getting battered and just screaming at each other. And then we sit the next day when we're sober, we'd sit there and listen to it and go, this is fucking terrible, but it's brilliant. And then people would hear it and go, this is terrible, but I can't stop enjoying it. And you're like, that's cool. Yeah. But then we've sort of grown up a bit and now know a little bit more about the idea of a song should have a beginning, middle, and end, and a catchy chorus in it, and that seems to work. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah.
You got any questions, Jem?
Yeah, I've got one. It's not from anyone. It's from me. Actually, I've got two.
Actually, make up a name. So this is from.
Okay.
It's from Dean Saunders, and then he wants to know.
This question I just got in now is from John Rutledge.
Okay. Yeah.
You know John, don't you?
I met him once at a party. Yeah, and he.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick.
Terrible,
bit of a
complete
dick.
Bastard, killed a rabbit.
Killed a rabbit.
Yeah, stamped on it. Terrible, man. But I'll answer the question though.
He's asking if you'd rather collaborate with Take That or Girls Aloud.
This is a tricky one. Now, I spent some very short periods of time in the company of Girls Aloud. Very short periods of time. On one occasion,
That euphemism.
No, nothing in a untoward manner.
5 minutes.
Strictly BBC.
But we did a corporate gig years ago, and they were on the bill as well. It was just us two. It was. I can't remember
Who was the curator for that?
I had no idea. But it was a corporate
gig. Did you do Boomtown?
It was unbelievable. So it was a small venue of about 100 people, and it's obviously a works due for whoever these people were. And we were both on the bill, and we did our gig. We learned all the words. We did all the words, and we did our show. Probably about a half hour, 40-minute show, maybe about half hour, 20 minutes, because obviously whatever they book you for, you do. They did their show and they mimed to about 3 songs. And then we shared the same backstage area, and they didn't really communicate with us. Well, that's fair enough. You don't have to be best mates or whatever. So we got on with it. Then quite a few years later, I was at a festival with Reese, and we were presenting on TV, doing sort of links between the bands or whatever, you know. And they were there, and we'd interviewed various bands. And when it came to doing the interview, they said they didn't want to do it with us. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, yeah, what are we going to do, you know? And I felt a little bit let down there. I don't really like their music. So I probably wouldn't do a collaboration with them. Take that. I know there are key members of the band who would really look forward to doing that. So there's more chance of it happening. But again, they did that. Was it Sigma? They did that drum and bass tune with Sigma. Do you remember that a couple of years ago?
Yuck.
If I had to do one of them, do you know what? I'd probably do the collaboration with Girls Aloud just to see what it worked out like. But I'm not into that sort of pop music. It's not for me. It's not for me.
Yeah.
And I stood very near Mark Owen once. He's very small. He's about that big. Tiny man. Yeah. So I would do the collaboration with Girls Aloud to see how it worked out. Do they still exist as a band?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Probably not.
No.
I think Little Mix killed them.
Little Mix, yeah, that's the next. Yeah, and again, I don't even know what Little Mix is. There's some
I don't
women,
either.
It's some women who appear on daytime television every now and then.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah.
I think they're into. Was it the Spanish dildo?
Do they do the vocoder?
Yeah.
Everyone does the vocoder.
Little Mix don't do auto-tune.
Not
not noticeably. Like
okay.
It would be like, you know, very discreet kind of tuning.
The Spanish bullet.
Yeah.
I don't even. Is that a thing you make smoothies with? I don't even know. I don't even know.
Depends whether it's 20 to 9.
What's your favourite film of all time? Or your top 3?
Top 3, okay. Threads. Have you ever seen Threads?
No.
Classic. Go online tonight.
Some suggestions from here.
BBC film made in the 80s, shown to us in school. Docudrama.
Red.
What would happen if there was a nuclear strike on Britain?
Oh.
Wow, what a film. Really grim, horrible ending. Tried watching it after a heavy tour once, and we got on a tour bus after months on the road, and we watched that on the final journey home. Grim, but great. Other films, 2 others. The Life Aquatic, have you seen that?
Steve Zissou.
Yeah, Steve Zissou, that's good.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a third film.
Fair enough.
RoboCop 2. No, RoboCop 3. Because I think he flies in RoboCop 3. That's quite good.
Solid picks.
Yeah.
I've said that we'll be wrapping up soon, so I've asked for any final questions, and some questions have come through. So
Okay, yeah.
I will combine a couple. And Boofy and Kerry P, Shorty P are both asking any Welsh rappers you like and thoughts on the Welsh hip hop scene currently. Like
Culture Vultures, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're quite good. They seem to know what they're doing. They get on the stage, they do the songs, then they leave the stage.
Got the beats.
Yeah, got the beats. What was the second part of the question?
thoughts on the Welsh hip hop scene.
I'm totally out of touch. I mean, can you guys recommend anyone else who's on the Welsh hip hop scene? I'm 44, so I just
Boofy.
yeah, okay. Yeah. So I've seen some Boofy videos via your like YouTube stuff. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Zupa,
Check out.
Say again.
Black Tricks,
Mm-hmm.
Luke RV, Conrad, DJ Alchemy,
Yeah. And make one up.
Honest Poet,
Make one up.
Magugu,
Just make up a random one as well. MC
MC
Guy
Rutledge,
Sheds.
MC Dean Saunders as well. He's really good. So
MC Safe as Fuck.
yeah, he's a good MC. Yeah.
Okay, Esmeralda Pixie's asking whose mother had a penis. Like, what's the origins of that song?
So the origin of that song is a bloke in a pub trying to fight someone, and that was his retort to someone. That was as clever as he could get, and it was like, you fucking idiot. That is the shittest thing you could ever say. It's because that song is basically a story of a pub fight and someone trying to spark something off, and that's the best retort they can come back with. And it's just like, you fucking idiot. And it just made for a great little. So it's basically a story of someone in a pub trying to start a fight, and just that's you fucking dickhead.
There it is.
So I don't know whose mother does, but it's someone somewhere thinks that's a great way to rile someone, whereas you just sound like a 7-year-old.
Probably his mother.
Yeah, maybe.
Those reflecting yourself on others type thing, I think.
That's it, And in this day and age, who cares anyway,
Probably quarter of all people's mothers.
It's the nature of the beast, Everyone's free to do what they want to do, and if you want to try and wind someone up with a really shit attempt at trying to get them angry with that, then probably need to go to school to learn how to try and wind people up properly. Bit of a wanker. Don't even know if he got into the fight in the end, but that's the nature of going out for a drink in Newport. Wonderful times. People just trying to fight each other for no reason at all. Not all the time, but sometimes.
So if I was a tourist, say like an American tourist classic, like just got off the bus in Newport, the mega bus on Newport, and I bump into you, and I go, oh, I'm looking for a nice place to visit in Newport. Where would you point me to?
Cardiff.
No, I'd say there's a little place called the Secret Garden Cafe, which is a little place where you can get food. That's quite good. You can go over the road from there to Diverse Music. You buy some records in there. That's good. You go up the Ridgway for a nice walk. And there's a little coffee shop up there that's quite good. You've got the wetlands, because they're quite good, because you can go bird watching, or you can just walk around, which is quite nice. And I would have said Weatherspoons, but the bloke who owns Weatherspoons is a complete bell end. So I'd say don't go to Weatherspoons. And then I'd say go to the Murringer pub, because that's quite good. And then I'd say go to Bailey's, which is good, but not as good as when Pete ran it. And then I'd say go to Adam's house, because he bought a hot tub, and you can go in there, and you can sit in there with him.
Can we get a specific location on Adam's house?
If you now, shall I give his telephone number and full address out?
Definitely.
Now, should I do that?
Yes.
I tell you what, I've got a PayPal account. If you're willing to direct message me on Twitter and give me 15 grand into my PayPal account, and I can confirm that money's there, I will give you Adam's address and telephone number for 15 grand. I'll sell him out for 15 grand.
You've heard it here first.
So if anyone wants to put that money in my PayPal account now, and I will give you Adam's address. And I can tell you a way to get into his hot tub over a wall, so he won't even know you're there.
I hope there's no
I can tell you how to break into his
psychos
house.
listening.
Yeah, for any psychos with 15 grand to spare, I can give you those details. No problem. No problem.
I got another question I just thought of.
Okay.
If I was to go to Baineswell Express
Yeah, Baineswell Express, yeah.
and I only had a tenner, what are the best items I could get from Baineswell Express for £10?
They'll treat you very well. Junior, because it's a family-run business, but Junior is the main guy. Well, he's not the main guy because he doesn't know, but I think his dad owns it. Junior's a lovely guy. I personally would get... Are you staying in Newport for the night, or do you live there? You just visited?
Neither.
Yeah.
The change on the train.
Say again. You're visiting.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get a load of cans, but then tell them that someone sent me a message the other day saying they'd gone to visit Newport and they'd gone to Baineswell Express, and they mentioned the video and they gave them some free stuff. So whatever you buy, I'm quite sure they'd be friendly enough to give you some free stuff because they're nice like that. They've given us free stuff in the past. And go in there with a tenner, buy a load of cans, mention the song, and I'm sure they'll give you a couple of like Curly Whirlies or Twixies or something, just for, yeah.
Sounds
So
like
get in there. It's open all the time.
Sounds like a cheat code for Newport, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But that's worth checking out.
We've been chatting for an hour and 47 minutes. Like.
Okay.
It's quite good.
Not bad.
One other thing.
Say again.
One other thing I was going to touch on was Guns Don't Kill People, obviously, would you say is the biggest GLC song?
I think so, yeah. Funny enough, the B-side was Soap Bar, so loads of people know Soap Bar. Potentially more than know Guns Don't Kill. But yeah, a lot of people...
But that's the one... That one blew up massively, innit? Did you ever think that song would be that big when you first made it?
No, not really. I don't think we always had this thing when we were recording stuff where you go, oh, that one's going to be a number one smash, knowing clearly it wasn't going to be a number one smash because we were a load of men in a room wrecked recordings. But we recorded it. We had the album ready to go, and then we put that together just before the album came out, with the one we did with Atlantic, the greatest hits. And then we put it on as a kind of almost an afterthought. Like we'd done all the other stuff. We're like, oh, we've done this one. It's quite good. We'll put that one on as well. And it did really well. Yeah, it did really well. So didn't think anything would be a hit because, I mean, hit number 3, it's not really a hit. It's close to being a hit.
I think it's a hit for a rap group from Newport.
Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy to get that high in the chat.
Yeah, it's mental. But yeah, didn't really expect it to be brilliant. But by the time we signed that deal, we were kind of like, I hope it does all right, because then we can keep doing this. And it did. It kept us doing it for a bit, which is not bad.
Amazing.
Get out there and, go to a room full of people, do the songs, then come off stage and go home, and go to a travel lodge. Sit in the travel lodge?
Did you ever let fame get the better of you and request stupid things on tour?
Let me think. I think there was a phase of. Do you know that thing about the M&Ms? Was it Van Halen said we want a bowl of M&Ms, and the reason they did that was because they had a massive show with loads of pyrotechnics, and it was a big technical show. And they knew that by the time it got to the bottom of the rider, if someone had taken notice of that little thing that said give us the ball of M&Ms, it probably meant they'd taken notice of all the important stuff. So there was some sort of relevance to it, you know.
Yeah.
But I think we did ask for I think it was a picture of Roger Moore signed by Sean Connery, or alternately a picture of Sean Connery signed by Roger Moore. I don't think it ever happened.
That's a shame.
Did
So
you
that's,
kick
that's,
off?
nothing happened. Nothing ever happened. I think that's the best thing we've ever asked for. Besides that, just a load of cans and some sandwiches and crisps. You know.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Did you remember playing Blue Rock Festival?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember that? And then it collapsed, and then like there was Tivy Rock. It was in like Cardigan. It was one night. Do you remember playing
that's
that?
right.
It was
Yes,
you guys.
yeah.
I was there. I must have been like 12 or some shit. My uncle was doing the sound.
Oh, that's
I
good.
don't know. I was young. I would have been young, like around then.
Yeah.
And it was you guys, and the Beat were headlining. You two.
Yeah, and was
I'm sure our friend Bryn, I'm sure he was running around because somebody's like, I've got to go and get GLC, like some specific type of Peruvian coffee for their rider.
now that's weird because I mean,
That's just a vague memory I have. Like,
I know we went through a phase of when we were touring really heavily, everyone kept getting colds and being ill. So because you're just shouting on stage every night, your throat's killing you. So we went through a phase of like, can we have some raw ginger so that ginger and lemon, so you can mix it with some honey and water. And people would give you a chunk of ginger and some raw lemons and some honey and tea, and you could make a drink. But we got to one venue and the promoter gave us powdered ginger that you get in like a tub.
Yeah. A spice, basically.
Yes, yeah. And that was about as excessive as it got, you know. But that's weird that he would have been running around for coffee because with that gig, I remember getting there was a small caravan on the side of the stage, which didn't even fit us in. So I think we went into town and sort of messed around there all day, then got up to the gig about 2 hours before the show and did the show. And I think it was a little bit cold that night because I think I had shorts and I just remember feeling a little bit cold. They're my memory. And I think, what's his name? Oh, God. He's dead now, but his band, the Ian Jury and the Blockheads. You know Ian Jury and the Blockheads?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Blockheads still tour, but without Ian Jury. Were they playing that as well? I mean, I could be thinking. I could be thinking.
No, I think you could be right. I mean,
yeah,
possibly.
It all becomes a blur after a while. But
yeah,
great times, provided I could remember them. But I clearly can't. So.
I think like Crafty Cats was playing as well or something. It was a weird little one night.
Yeah, it's quite good. It was quite good, but it's all just a distant memory now.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't do it anymore because of COVID-19. So I'm just out here in Portugal, just waiting for the lockdown to finish. I'll go for a swim.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous, eh?
That's it, man. Living out in Portugal, this beautiful weather. The sun hasn't even gone down yet. That's how beautiful it is.
That's something that there's quite a lot of you. So when you are finally on stage, how are you going to do the social distance thing? Like, you just need a big stage, don't you?
Yeah. Don't even know how that's. I'm just going to stay here in Portugal. I'll just stay here in Portugal till they sort it out.
Yeah, maybe that'd be.
That's my house there.
Well, you did that Zoom thing, didn't you, with the pajamas party? That was, and like I think someone actually asked, they wanted to buy your pajamas off you, isn't it, Jem?
That's sinister.
I think somebody wanted to borrow your pajamas.
Borrow, not buy them.
Yeah, that's
just borrow and give them back to you.
I mean, I would never wear someone else's pajamas.
It's really, especially in this time, it's irresponsible, if anything.
Exactly, unhygienic.
Can I borrow your face mask real quick?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I just want to go.
Unhygienic.
I just want to go into that hospital.
Just want to go in the shop, like.
Yeah.
I'll bring it
Don't
back.
want to catch anything.
Oh, can I borrow your pants? Because I shat myself and I need to like sit down on that bus.
Disgusting.
I don't know. Sorry.
Absolutely disgusting. My God. horrible.
Do you have any like energy left? Because you've given us so much time to give us any more wisdom, any final words of wisdom, anything to help us get through these final days.
Always eat three balanced meals a day. If you're going to eat mushrooms, leave them by the window for about an hour before you eat them, and it will increase the amount of vitamin D in them by over 100%. Don't drink and drive.
That's true.
Say again. Oh, it's broken up.
That's true about the mushrooms.
Yeah. If you leave mushrooms in sunlight, it will increase the amount of vitamin D in them by over 100% for about an hour.
That's crazy.
Leave them for about an hour. Don't drink and drive, and have a good time all the time. And that's all I can say.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Legend. Thanks for doing it.
No worries, guys. I'm going to go back.
Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you asking me to get involved. Great times.
We'd love to do it.
Will you catch me some fish whilst you're out in Portugal and bring them back to Wales?
Yeah, I'll bring them back.
What do you think's the possibility of getting the whole crew on in one go?
We could try it. I mean, we could try it. Yeah, if you give us a date
in
and
advance,
I'll send them a message. We'll try. Yeah,
I think that'd be good.
Okay, I could probably get at least 5, I reckon.
Sick.
It'd be good for just how bad it is.
Yeah,
it's bad enough for 4 people, you know. You're like,
it would just be noisy, wouldn't it?
Be a fucking shit show of everyone.
Let's see what happens. But yeah, just let me know and we'll try and suss something out. That'd be cool.
I'd love that. Yeah, and also, sorry, last thing, just to catch you off guard, we're thinking of a name change. What's the first thing that comes to your mind for a podcast name change? Winger Records and EMW TV we are at the moment.
Uncle Dean's Family Fantasy Podcast Show. I don't know who Uncle Dean is, but you know.
It sounds fucking ominous as fuck.
Guys, you're gonna write that down just so we got something.
I got it now.
Uncle Dean's Family Fantasy Podcast.
Excellent. Sure. We've also got Penis Fish Podcast as well from someone.
Okay, that's quite cool.
And the intro will just be that audio clip.
Yeah, there you go. Done.
Sorted.
Loving it, man. Thank you.
Wicked.
Do you want to see us out, Harry?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say we got DJ Jaffa coming up on Wednesday. This Wednesday, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time? 8 o'clock.
7.
7. All right.
7.
So DJ Jaffa is a legendary Cardiff hip hop producer. If you don't know,
Has he got the world record for the longest DJ set in the world?
Is it a world record now? Because I know he's tried it, attempted it. We'll have to ask him if it's official.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because that is actually something that he attempted. Yeah, whether it's official, I'm not sure. But we'll ask him from you to him on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, we've also got another stream with a lady called Amy Sinclair. We're talking about mental health and music, and that's with another guy I do a stream with called Infinity Rhythm Mix. I went to college with, and actually, like, one of the anthems in college was "Guns Don't Kill People" and "Half Man, Half Machine." And I remember him being back then, and we're all like jamming out to it. So it's all kind of, as you say, everything comes full circle, right? So.
All goes back to
1983.
It all goes back to 1983. And just very quickly before I go,
Dirty Dan.
If you've got 5 minutes to spare tonight, check out Cutmaster Swift appearing on the Wogan show in the 80s.
Oh,
that's
sick.
another bit of fun.
He's such a good DJ.
Yeah, Cutmaster Swift and Terry Wogan. What a great combination. That's just a little treat for you guys there.
Such a good list of stuff to look at.
There you go. Check it all out. I think you'll enjoy it. But Arthur Fowler's breakdown is top of that list. You've got to watch that.
It's in the book.
If you guys get the chance, try and sample that, the sound of him going nuts in one of your tracks. That'd be cool. It'd be really cool. Wicked. Excellent.
I'm trying to scramble some sort of promo together to put as a hold slide, but I'm kind of failing at it. So I'm just going to go to the hold slide that we had originally.
Okay. I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what any of that means.
Nor do I. Do you want to?
Do I have to do anything to end it? Do I have to?
Nah, you've done plenty. I mean, you can if you want. Do you want to see us out? Go on, see us out, Eggsy.
Okay,
finish the show.
Once again, it's been a wonderful time. We've had a great evening here together. And before we leave tonight, I'd like to remind you all, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. So look after yourselves and each other, and don't drink and drive. Good night, and enjoy your lives. So I press stop now.